As an introvert in business, this is the number one thing that you need to be thinking about when you are setting up your business, when you are reviewing your business, and in your day-to-day. Now, I know I could talk about absolutely anything here because obviously there are so many different things in your business that you need to be thinking about on a day-to-day basis. But for introverts specifically, I think this is the big one that nobody really talks about. Hi, I'm Katherine Mackenzie-Smith, and I'm a business coach and strategist for introverts who are trying to cut through the noise and create success on their own terms. And without fail, anytime I ask people what is the biggest challenge that they're having in their business right now, or what do they wish that they could change, by far this is the thing that comes up the most. I wish I could change my energy. I wish I had more energy. I wish that I had more consistent energy so that I could show up the same in my business every single day. And that makes sense, right? Because the messaging that we're constantly being taught is that we should be showing up consistently in our businesses, in life, in everything that we do, the same every single day. We're taught that consistency is key, that in order to be successful, you have to get up at a certain time every day, usually the 4 or 5 a.m., and you need to be showing up consistently, doing things consistently, having those success habits every single day. Now, if you're an introvert and you have inconsistent energies, or there's certain things that you need to navigate in your day-to-day life around what days you have calls on, how much time you're spending around people, and other external circumstances that mean that on some days you have more energy than others, or if there are other circumstances at play, like having a physical or mental illness or disability, having other circumstances in your life that mean that showing up consistently in the way we've been taught it should look is just not possible for you, this video is for you. Every time someone says to me they wish they had more energy, they had more extroverted energy, or more consistent energy or time in the day to get more done, I always think about the external conditioning that brought us to this belief that we should be able to do things the same every single day. And also what would be the most helpful thing for me to say in order to shift that mindset and those belief systems from I wish that I was different to how can I make this work for me? There are obviously so many factors in your life, in your lived experience, in your business, in your current circumstances that are going to impact or influence the amount of energy that you have in any given day. I know for myself, this can be based on the commitments that I have throughout the week, things that are going on in my external world, how well I've slept the week before or the night before, my eating habits, my menstrual cycle. There are so many different things that are contributing to how we can show up each and every day. And so my first thought is to actually start to deconstruct this social conditioning of what energy is, how our energy works, and what our output should be. There is an industrial age kind of thinking of that factory worker output of hitting certain KPIs per day and being able to repeat that over and over again. But the reality is that we're not robots. We are human beings who have so many different things going on in our inner and outer worlds at any given moment. And to think that we should be able to turn up the exact same way every single day, follow a specific set of habits or tasks, and be able to repeat them day in and day out without question to the exact same degree is, in my belief, just absolutely nuts. So the next time that you find yourself thinking you should be working differently, thinking that your output should be a certain way, I really want to encourage you to spend some time sitting with whether this is actually true or whether there is some social conditioning that you are ready to start examining or unravel within your own belief system. Sometimes I wish that I could wake up and wave a magic wand and make time stop, or suddenly have way more energy that day than I actually have. And as much as I can pump coffee into my body and hope that it's going to give me some extra energy, the reality is that this isn't really realistic, and it's not actually helping me to get the things done that I need to do. The reality is that absolutely we can make lifestyle changes. We can examine and track what's going on in a day-to-day basis with our energy and what might have caused a sudden spike or lack of energy. But wishing that we worked differently is absolutely putting energy into a place that we have very little control over. One thing that I share with the members in Secret Introverts business is the importance of actually tracking your time and energy across a week to see where that time and energy is going. I know this always helps me because some tasks I believe in my mind that they should be really fast, and they actually take me way longer than I'm prepared for. Sometimes little things come up throughout the day that I have no control over, that take time and energy that I didn't plan for. And some days, for who knows what reason, the day is gone and I don't even know what I got done. For this reason, I think it can be really helpful to write down what you're doing throughout the day and how you're feeling when you're doing it. It's a really great way to be able to look back and realize that there's certain tasks in your business or your life that you're doing that you could do more efficiently, that you could maybe automate or templatize, or that are just taking energy away from you and the work that you're trying to do, that are either completely redundant and not actually making any impact, or they're taking a lot more time and energy than you were budgeting for or that you were allowing in your day or your week. I know that I'm someone who is often multitasking. I get distracted really easily. And so having some sort of awareness and intention across the day can really help to see, oh yeah, I got distracted for an hour and a half on TikTok when I was procrastinating from doing this. It gives us a level of self-awareness. It also helps us to realize what it is that you're actually procrastinating on and why, and starting to find solutions that are going to help you on a long-term basis. So the big three questions to sit with while you're tracking your energy is asking what you're putting time and energy into each week. So this can be as easy as having a notebook and pen next to you, taking note of the time, setting a timer, or when you're finished doing that task or you move on to something else, you quickly note how long it's taken and even check in and evaluate how you're feeling in that moment. You could use a rating system or a color system, or even just pay attention and observe how you're feeling, because some tasks can really take a lot of energy and you can definitely need time to rest afterwards. Some re-energize you, some make you realize that there's other steps or other tasks that need doing that you hadn't written down, and really just taking a moment to check in can be a huge eye-opener to things that you're just naturally and instinctively doing throughout the day and not taking into account when you're looking at your time and energy for the week. And I'm definitely not the person who's going to sit here and say you shouldn't be watching Netflix, you're never going to be successful if you are scrolling social media apps or having a Netflix binge every now and again. That is absolutely not the way that I work, and it's definitely not the way that I live my life either. What I'm asking you to do here is to pay attention to what you're doing, where your time and energy is going, what is wearing you out or draining you, and what is exciting and energizing you, what is maybe holding you back in terms of, are there certain things you know you should be doing and you are using distractions, or they're taking a lot of energy for you to just think about and not actually do, and just being really aware and observant of what's really going on for you. I know when I am having a low energy week or month, or I'm particularly procrastinating on getting something done in my business, that these are the times that I'm generally going to get hooked on some TV show and spend a lot of the week binging that show. And sometimes it's actually taking a moment to go, what's really going on here for me? But if we're not paying attention, observing and tracking where our time and energy is going, it's very difficult to even pinpoint that these actions or choices or behaviors are a symptom of something else that's going on under the surface. If we have spent our whole life trying to work to a system that actually isn't designed to support our energy, of course we get to the end of the day or the end of the week and just feel so exhausted and burnt out. The number one thing that happens when we start to track where our time and energy is going is we get an awareness of what's actually really going on for us, so that we can start to make a plan of how to make it work better for us, how to simplify, or how to just let go of things that are creating a lot of energy output for us. I truly do not think that it helps that there is a certain kind of messaging about what a successful person looks like. There was a few years ago where this meme went around that was basically something along the lines of, you have the same amount of hours in the day as Beyonce. But when you look at the difference in having energy and resources that you have versus what someone like Beyonce has, there's obviously a huge discrepancy there. And trying to believe that we're capable of the same output as someone like Beyonce is both ableist and actually pretty problematic when you think about it. And because of this social messaging around what success should look like, we kind of have this false belief of what success should look and feel like, but we also massively overestimate what we're able to do in a day or a week. What that meme doesn't mention is the fact that someone like Beyonce has a different level of resources to be able to support her to take time out of the equation in her day-to-day life. For the rest of us mere mortals, instead of wishing that we had more time or energy or money in order to make things easier for ourselves, the question is, how can we free up some of that time and energy with the resources that we have available to us? It's obviously going to look different for everyone, but let me share some ideas with you so you can get the ball rolling and start to see how you can free up some more time and energy or resources in your day. This might be outsourcing tasks to someone like a virtual assistant, or having someone who can help you out throughout the month to take on some of those tasks that you either don't want to do, that you can't do as well or as quickly as them, or that are just piling up and you never have the time or energy to get around to them. This also frees up your time and energy to be able to focus on creative projects, supporting your clients, and making sure that those important tasks are getting done, but you're able to free up time and put your energy in places that are really going to make a difference in your business. Obviously, this is an investment in your business that you have to make upfront that will generally pay off in the long run if you get someone really good on your team who can help take on a lot of the roles and tasks that are actually taking away from the things that you do best. But this might also be not in your business at all, and doing things like having food delivered or sending out your laundry each week, having someone come and help out around the house, or investing a little bit of money somewhere else that's going to actually help you, that you can put more time and energy in the places that you really need to. It might also be looking at the list of things that you're doing on a weekly or monthly basis and deciding to just drop some things that are not making any difference except they're taking time and energy away from you. This is such a personal thing, and so it's really important that you make the decision that feels right for you. But it might be something like deciding to close down a program or a free group, or take yourself off a social media platform that is an energy burden in the background, even when you're not thinking about it and not posting in there. Or it might be being really clear with people about the way that you're going to be showing up differently in that space so that you can free up some more time to spend with your one-on-one clients or to invest into a new project. It might be that you've committed to creating a regular podcast or doing something specific in your business that actually no longer feels in alignment for you, or is just a massive burden every week when you sit down to do it. It can be really hard to let go of these things, especially if we know that other people will be disappointed that we're making that decision. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what is the long-term benefit of making this decision. By holding on to something that you don't feel aligned with anymore, that is taking a lot of energy away from you, or is just becoming a major block or pain point in your business, it is better to let go of it now and be able to move more towards saying yes to things that you're really excited about than hanging on to it and it constantly taking time and energy away from things that you're really excited about and the next steps you want to take in your business. It might also be just practicing some compassion with yourself, looking at your list and the things that you're trying to push into a very small amount of time, and actually giving yourself a bit of a break and some grace that maybe you're asking just too much of yourself right now. Sometimes we have to reevaluate our expectations, not only the ones that we might be putting on others, but also the ones that we're putting on ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to create a business that we love and enjoy and feel energized by. And by holding ourselves to unrealistic expectations and standards, we can just start to create something that we really don't enjoy anymore. It can also really impact our creativity and our confidence when we keep failing every single day. And so I found just creating as many little wins for myself as possible to be a huge way to come across this. I would rather underestimate what I'm able to get done in a day or a week and be pleasantly surprised at the end of the week when I've done so much than constantly be feeling like I'm falling behind, I'm not getting enough done, and I'm not moving fast enough. And this is a big unsexy one, because one of the biggest energy burdens that I personally have had to work out and navigate my way through, and that I see coming up time and time again, is that if you have a set amount of time, whether you're working full-time in your business or you only have 1 or 2 hours a week to commit to it, when you sit down without any kind of roadmap ahead of you or plan for exactly what you want to get done in that time, I can tell you that is the easiest way to lose an entire day. The number of times over the years that I've been in business that I have got to the end of the day and thought to myself, what did I even get done today? Was because I didn't really have a plan for what I was doing. And so in those moments, it's easy to feel bored, to lose motivation, to get stuck in the scroll and spend a whole day being pulled in different directions by whatever distraction is coming into your orbit, and then getting to the end of the day and being absolutely exhausted by the different directions that your energy has been pulled in. When you know what it is that you're working towards and you have clear steps of things that need to get done, milestones that you want to check in with, and reviews at the end of the week or the month to check in, see how you went, what needs to be tweaked and changed, and what is coming up next week, it is so much easier to get on with it. So you sit down and you see exactly what needs to be done. You're inspired because it's completely aligned to the goals that you've set and you're working towards, and you're able to tune out any noise and distractions because you know exactly what you need to be doing. As a super flowy and intuitive person, I was always put off by the idea of having too much structure in my business. But what that meant was I was just flowing all over the place. It's like a river without banks. Once it breaks its banks, it causes mess and destruction, and it's going all over the place. Whereas when you have some clear foundations, some structure, then you're able to move within that and be more efficient and get to your destination faster, the same way that a river does when it has those banks to move within. So instead of changing and wishing that you had more time, wishing that you have more energy, when more often than not, there are external factors that you can't necessarily control to be able to change that. And by all means, if there's things that you can change, do what you can to. But when you actually have a plan for the time and energy that you do have available, you are going to be able to make the most of that time. And the last thing is to actually be really self-aware of when you work best, when your energy is at its best, how you're feeling, and if you know you can keep going even if you're starting to feel a bit tired, or if you know that you've hit the wall and it's time to take a step away and rest and rejuvenate. So often in many of our societies, we're taught to just push through, that we have to be working for a certain amount of time every day. I know for the first 5 or 6 years in my business, I had it in my head that I needed to, at 9 o'clock every Monday morning, be sitting at my computer ready to go, even though most days my energy isn't really fully switched on until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The second I came to that realization and started to embrace and accept that in myself, I knew that I could spend the whole morning just chilling out, doing what I wanted to do, really relaxing and feeling energized, knowing that that would be setting me up really well for the afternoon. If you have client calls or things like that throughout the day, you might not want to do them first thing in the morning if that's not how your energy works best. And if there is one thing that I can tell you that's going to make a huge impact on your business, the way that you feel about yourself and your business and your own confidence, is to start accepting the way that you work best instead of wishing that you were different. I know this is against most of the messaging that we've been taught throughout our lives, but the more that we can start to embrace that we maybe work differently from the way we've been taught we have to, and that when we embrace that and start to find ways to work with it, we are more likely setting ourselves up for success than if we're just to push on through and try to be like other people, spend a lot of energy wishing that we were different, and ultimately feeling that burnout and wondering if we're ever going to be able to be successful because we're forcing ourselves to work in a way that actually doesn't work for us. Having an awareness of your needs and your capacity, how you work best, what works best for you, and where you really thrive is going to help you to set up some really strong foundations in your business. Once we have that level of self-awareness, compassion, and permission, we're also able to see the things that we're having to do over and over again, things that we're really not enjoying doing, and things that are either important to our business that aren't our strength, or that we're doing every single day or week that aren't actually making any positive impact. This allows us to think of whether we want to outsource those tasks, what can be automated, if we can create easier or more efficient systems, if we can simplify in some way, or if there are projects or tasks that we're doing that actually aren't serving us and the business we're trying to create that can be dropped altogether. I'm constantly coming up with new ideas in my business, and so when I have a new idea, it's first feeling into, is this an idea for right now, or is it going to be taking away from my current focus? And if it's a project or an idea for later on, I have something I call my ideas shelf, where all of those ideas and projects go with as much description and brainstorming as possible in the moment when it comes through. And so when I've made the decision, no, this isn't for right now, it's for a little bit later on, I can detach my energy from it and leave it there on the shelf to come back to at a later date. When all those ideas are in our head and getting mixed around with all of the other things that we're trying to focus on right now, can actually be really distracting. And at the end of the week or the end of the month, I can come back and evaluate which direction I want to go next, instead of forcing myself to take action straight away or drop the thing I'm currently focusing on, which is most likely a really intentional decision, and come back to the new idea when it is a better time. We can absolutely wish that we had more time and more energy in our lives, or that our energy works completely differently from the way that it actually does. But in my experience, and when I'm working with my clients around this, the thing that I know for sure is that the more we can start to embrace and work with our energy and capacity, the more sustainable it's going to be, and the more we actually start to build our confidence, create alignment with our goals, make sure that our systems are actually supporting us, and create ways in our life, in our business, to actually be easier for us instead of constantly fighting against who we really are. It allows us to have signposts or indicators of when we're starting to feel that burnout, when we're having low energy days, and what we need to do to take care of ourselves so that we can come back tomorrow feeling much better. And it works within my framework framework of the seasons of visibility where we're not always going to be in high energy, high visibility mode. In our society of exponential growth and always being bigger and bigger and bigger every single year, we are constantly being reminded that that is not a sustainable framework. And so starting to detach from that kind of thinking and create systems and strategies that actually support us to create sustainability, even if it doesn't look like exponential growth every single year, is going to really help to set us up to be able to keep showing up for our business. I know from personal experience that continuing to push until complete burnout is the quickest way to learn to really dislike your business and walk away from it altogether. And so it's my wish for you that instead of wishing that you work differently, instead of wishing that you didn't have certain things or circumstances in your life that you can't change right now, I genuinely hope that this gives you something to think about how you can work with who you are instead of constantly trying to fight against it. If you can make little tweaks and changes to some of the systems, some of the things that you haven't automated that you easily could, have more awareness and intention around where your time and energy is going, I know that you will start to create a business that has your best interests at heart, that really supports you exactly as you are, instead of trying to force yourself to be something that you're not. Please let me know if you start to try this out, or if there's anything else that pops up for you that you're seeing as a really big time or energy suck that I haven't mentioned in this video. I'm certain there are many others out there, but I definitely see time and time again that trying to be something that you're not, or not having a plan of what you're going to do in the time that you have available to work in your business, are two of the top ways to just feel so burnt out by your business, so overwhelmed, and feel like you're not getting anywhere in your business. Please let me know if you try any of these tips, or if you have any questions at all. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future videos about being an introvert in business and how to make that work for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.